Welcome to the skating session. My name is Tony Wheeler,
And I'm Thomas Vu.
and we are here from Milan. We are kind of delayed in this video, but I know a lot of people have been looking forward to it. We attended the free dance last night. If you do not live under a rock, you know it was highly controversial what the result ended up being. And of course, our inboxes were flooded immediately with people asking our opinion when this video was going to come out. Just for reference, at the Olympics, the arena is about a 40-minute metro ride away from where we're staying. So on top of that, we went and got food and drinks after the event last night. So by the time we got back, it was already 2 in the morning. And then this morning at 10:45, we had to be at practices, which we bought tickets for. So there's really been no time to get into this, and we want to spend a lot of time
Yeah.
getting into it. Yeah. So with that said, like I said, this is a highly controversial result. You had Guillaume Cizeron and Laurence Fournier-Baudry pulling out the gold medal over Chalk and Bates by, I think, I'm going to just preface this. I'm not looking at the protocol at all because we're going to do a deep dive into the scoring, and we don't want to necessarily know any of the GOEs or any of the PCS that were given by any of the judges to influence us. So if I'm correct in the final standings, I'm pretty sure they won by about a point and a half when it was all said and done, maybe a little bit more, honestly. But then Gillis and Poirier ended up with the bronze medal here, and Guignon and Fabry were fourth. And really surprisingly, Zingis and Klesnik of the United States ended up in fifth place. We're going to get into the top two. Maybe depending on how it goes, we might also judge Gillis and Poirier just to see if they would have made kind of an impact on that top standing in our opinions. But we're really going to focus on the top two, so we're going to talk about them plenty eventually. So let's talk just very briefly about the rest of the skaters. Gillis and Poirier, really interesting to me. A lot of people are not talking about this Laurence and Guillaume versus Madison and Evan thing. They're saying Piper and Paul had the skate of the night. They were the ones that stood out the most. They were the most memorable skate. Who cares about the top two, honestly?
But
Yes,
for
everyone
me,
has an opinion. Yeah,
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 100%. That's what it was like for me. Like when I think about back on the night, that final flight in general was pretty messy. Other than Gillis and Poirier, like everyone kind of had like some issues here and there. But Gillis and Poirier just like were emotional. I was in it. I could feel myself get lost in that performance, and of course I cried. I'm sure Tony sighed at me in the corner.
yes.
It's really good.
I
Like
watched the skating for not emotions. I watched the skating for the foundations and following the rule book to a T. So the emotions are left out of it for me
they're not mutually
because I'm just
exclusive,
emotionless.
but anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But they're like that's what stuck out to me, and just that's what I'll really remember from this Olympics, even like this controversy and everything, which I get kind of what people are saying, which made me really curious to like want to go through and just score this ourselves. And then after that, is the Italians, we know and Fabry. I think lucky to be fourth. Just my initial takeaway and
Yes,
impressions. Yeah,
yes,
considering
yes.
like a lot of the mistakes they had.
Yeah, I mean, I already said in the rhythm dance, I said I would have had a definite, definite fourth and fifth place of Zingis and Kolesnik and Loper River
Mhm.
Bristow. Nothing that Guignon and Fabry did in that free dance would convince me that they should be ahead. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy for them to get fourth place. They were very cordial in getting their fourth place. They just missed out on the podium. They
Mhm.
do have the bronze medal from the team event. A nice kind of rebound from where their season started, I would say. Just looking rough, like
Yeah.
looking better than they did, but still looking a little bit rough. Zingas and Kolesnik really, really surprised me. They continue to surprise me. It was not the most solid skate they've given. I think if you look at nationals, I would say that was probably better. But they are really turning the eyes of a lot of people. I've talked to
Yep.
skaters, I've talked to officials, I've talked to coaches that I have never met in my life since we've been here in Milan, and they're like, "What do you think about Zingis and Klesnik? They're going to be world champions. They're going to be on the podium. People think they're going to be on the podium next month at Worlds,
This
and I I
right.
think
Depending on
it's
if we have some withdrawals, yeah, 100%. If Chalk and
yeah,
Bates aren't in
yeah,
it, I think Zingas and Kolesnik are primed for world medal. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's heading in that direction. And then, do you happen to have the standings in front of you? I'm just very not looking at
Yes.
anything.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Well, I have the in the free dance, I have the final. So let me just look at everyone
okay.
overall. Um, and then behind them are Reed and Abrulevicius, seventh in both phases, but sixth overall. They're really entertaining live. I actually think it's a really entertaining program, even if the free dance that first half is kind of just skating around, and vibing.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. But I have to say, I started recording all the programs like I always
Yeah.
do. and I post them to social media. And a big part of it was because I had a feeling we were going to get into these really fine details of this, and I knew that we were not going to be able to use the Olympic coverage without getting copyright claims, whatever. So I made my own videos. I knew immediately because I have my Instagram that's for the skating session, and I have my personal Instagram, and I know most 98% of the people on my personal Instagram do not care anything about skating. Like they might occasionally here or there say something if I post something, but for the most part, there's no real interaction. But I knew in the last few days, the events we've been to, I'm like, I know which programs are just going to hit with people in general. And guess which
Yeah.
program I picked to post to my normal Instagram, my personal Instagram? It was Rita and Brulevicious. I knew that was going to get people going. I knew they would get into it. That last minute and a half to 2 minutes, it's a fan favorite for a reason. I understand in
Yeah.
person. The energy is there. They know what they're doing. Not a lot of ice coverage even in that last minute and a half, honestly. But it's just fun. It's choreographic elements. It's fun, and I appreciated it in person, not for like a high scoring kind of thing, but it really did bring the entertainment.
It really did. Right, right, right. Totally agree with that. And then right behind them, it's really sad. Fear and Gibson, they were fourth in the rhythm dance, but then 12th in the free dance. And they had that big error from Lila on the Twizzles. And that just kind of set the stage for like the whole program.
But I have to say, I'm so tired of mistakes not meaning very much in ice dancing. And this goes to show that a mistake on an element like this, the teams are
Right.
truly that kind of close that a big mistake like this should drop you down in the standings. I'm saying, no, I have said this so many times. I'm a big fan of them, right? So it was hard to watch. It really was
Yeah.
hard to watch. I think they were gearing up towards potentially pushing for the bronze medal. I'm gonna sidetrack in a minute now that I said that because it made me think of something. But you don't want to see anyone fall apart on the biggest stage,
No.
and they really fell apart. And we saw afterwards when Madison Chalk was having a little breakdown of her own, and Evan was also crying. We also saw Lila was crying. Just it was not a good night for them, and I don't want to dwell on
Right.
like the bad. It just was not their night, and it just
Yeah.
looked rough. And I think even from the beginning, if I remember correctly, I think that one of the things we did see last night that or actually we had Paulina Edmonds right by us, and I'm pretty sure they called like their first to the stationary to rotational lift. I think they were both level three. So
They
something was
were.
off from the very beginning. That's the most as I know as far as protocols go. I'm assuming her twizzles were dropped severely as well because that was a
They
major
were.
issue. But
And just the Twizzle mistake alone, it's almost 4.5 points they lost just between GOE and the base value because her level drops. And even then, you put those 4.5 points in and they're at 123 plus, and that doesn't include whatever
mhm,
PCS they might have gotten.
yeah.
uh
Yeah, so just it's unfortunate for them. Who is next?
Oh, yeah, right. Who's next? We have Lopo Raven Brasso, and I thought they placed lower than they should have here, both phases.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly I had a fear in Gibson because I would have had them in that final group. I had a fear in Gibson to begin with
yeah,
because I also feel like the rhythm dance was not as strong for them. And then I also feel like the free dance was slightly undermarked as well.
yeah.
Clearly ahead of Rita and Amber Levicious. I mean, I would say Guignard and Fabry kind of level. And I've said this even at
Yep.
Europeans. I think they should have been pushing them there. So,
They're
you know,
so fast. They're one of the fastest couples out there. They skate really smooth. All the transitions to the elements are really good. Everything's great. It's just nothing's flashy, but it's more
mhm,
that like pure skating that we really like.
yeah.
And then after that, Smart
Next.
and Deke.
And I said they're if they're going to make their move,
Yeah,
it's going to be the free dance. And they definitely hit again. This is another program I think I could
yeah.
easily share on my personal social media, and it would hit. The elements are just timed so well. There's a lot of
Mhm.
creativity. There's a lot of wow moments, and the atmosphere is nice. And I was one that was like, I don't like the ending of this one as much as I liked it last
Yeah.
year. But then in person, I liked it. I
Me too,
thought
me too.
I
In
thought
person, I liked it a lot
yeah.
more. It's way more entertaining, even if our view was like, from the short
Our
side.
view was from the side. Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
yeah. Not our
um
preference, but whatever. We're not going to complain. So one of those
yeah, they
things,
were.
though, too, that you notice is like an exclamation on the choreographic step at the end. If not for that, they'd have like two, three more points. So they were primed to get almost 125 here for their free dance, which is really great for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, they found a winning combination and they stuck with it, and I think it was probably ultimately a good idea for them.
Mhm.
And then next,
Yeah, and the next you have LaJoy and Laga, ninth in both phases, 10th overall.
yeah, and I mean they did not have their best set of skates here, and I'm one. I think that they should be way up there when they're on. I think they should be competing for medals. I thought that a long time ago. I thought they were Canada's second best and then potentially even the best for a while. I think they just need a fresh start next year. I think they need a new free
Yeah.
dance. I think they need to go a different direction with that. I think the rhythm dance needs to not be so,
Mhm.
I don't even know the right word for it. I just think they need a reset. And I have confidence that they have the foundations to really move up. I hope that these kind of going trending backwards that we saw at Worlds last year and now here doesn't keep going that way and give judges reason to say, okay, well, they're has-beens because
Yeah.
they're very good skaters.
Yeah. And 11th is Carrera and Ponomarenko. I think
Kind
they,
of surprising,
yeah, yeah.
they were 11th. I mean, I'm sorry, they were fifth at Worlds last year, so everyone thought, they're the ones potentially pushing up into maybe waiting there in line to be next to be on the podium. But it was just we talked about the rhythm dance, just not. It starts off just bad with the rotational lift just being so sloppy and not really fitting, and I think it just doesn't really go anywhere. Free dance I really like. It's good that they went back to this program. I
Mhm.
still don't get the ease of movement from him, especially. And when you look at a lot of these teams in the top 10, not all of them, but most of them, I would say just from a skating kind of quality standpoint, you can see why they're falling behind. And I even thought last year, they were overmarked for what they were doing. But I do really, really like that they went back to Perfume, kind of modified it, but this is a
Mhm.
much better program for them. And they
And
were enjoyable too. Everybody was
yeah,
enjoyable.
and the audience liked it too. You could tell that too. And then in
Mhm.
12th, and I would just say 12th and 13th are 1/100th of a point apart, so a virtual tie. But officially in 12th, you have Tequila and Versluis, and then 13th, you have Davis and Smoking.
And I honestly would probably put both of them higher. I would for sure put both of
Same.
them higher. I really don't want to keep going to Fear and Gibson because they're already down. Like they're already, this was a disaster for them. But I would say I understand that they were 12th in the free dance, but I think as a whole competition sum, I think for sure both teams probably should have even ended up ahead of them. I mean, really,
I think so
Tequila and
too.
Bruce Luis have one of my favorite free dances. It is so good. I don't think it
Mhm.
was performed as crisply or as
Yeah.
amazing. Even at Worlds last year, when they were coming from 20th place in the rhythm dance, I thought they really, really delivered in the free dance. Here, they've had injuries to start the year. I don't think it was fully realized in this performance. But Davis and Smolkin, I just want to talk about them for a minute. I just want to point out to people that back in 2022, there was this huge thing, like supposedly. Um, they were going to finish wherever at the Olympics, and then with the help of Iteri, they were going to be on the podium at Worlds. They're already pushing for bronze medal because of this one competition during the fall that everybody
Yeah.
got overscored on. But only their scores are the ones that matter because the hate that goes with that. Anyways, you look at where they finished in 2022 Olympics. I'm pretty sure they were 13th there, and they're 13th here as well. They have not made any progress up the standings. I think their skating is a million times better. I would say that free dance is vastly underscored. I think their rhythm dance is too. Now, neither program was perfect. I get
Yeah.
it. But I think the free dance, the composition of it should be among the highest in the entire field. And I think some of the elements they do, the curve lift that he does should be a +5. No questions asked. I mean, they both do it, but he's the one that's doing like a kind of a shoot deducting while balancing
Mhm.
her. I just a lot of it's so standout. Even the 1 foot step in the beginning, I think so well choreographed. I think it's a case of them having to wait in line, and I don't like that. I'm not a fan of wait your turn while all these grandma and grandpas decide to retire, but it's just I don't understand why they're not also pushing up the ranks over some of these other teams that just really consistently have issues time and time again. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
would be a
And
team I would say, I think that I think they're so underscored in my opinion.
and we could talk about everyone else, but then we'll be here forever.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm gonna go ahead here and share some things.
By the way, we're in the same room. We're like 10 feet away from each other. He gets the good lighting. I don't get any lighting. So the fact that I'm going off the screen now is perfect because I look like I look like a ghost.
Oh my God, right. Okay. So sure. Hopefully everyone can see all this. So there should be three things here. We're gonna have the video up here. Here's the actual rubric for scoring all the elements, and we'll go through that. Then we'll put up the
Mhm,
requirements for the PCS, right after this. We'll do that
mhm.
last. And then this should be from Skating Scores. Shout out. Thank you all. Skating Scores. They provide a service to the fandom. Let's just say that. And everybody's feelings right now are all coming
He
from,
listen,
yeah,
listen. He built this page specifically for us to be able to use as kind of a condensed
yeah.
rescore thing. I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, we're going to do this video. Can you put something together? If not, it's too much work. Let me know." Almost instantly, he's like, "I got you." So thank you so much
Hmm.
for that. Skating scores, for us geeks, as we're called by
Yeah.
Brian Boitano, I think that this is like the best site in the world.
And
So.
there's just some things here. We're just taking the calls as they are right now. We might go back and just be like, hey, maybe here's what we disagreed with, but I didn't see anything
Mhm,
really egregious. All we've done is cleared out the GOE and the PCS marks. We'll put them in, see what ends up happening here. What you're seeing right now. I'll just hit calculate and hopefully it zeroes it all out. Okay, perfect.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
all right. And so all we
So
have is
just to
for
be
yeah,
clear, if you're following and you don't understand what we're saying, there's levels that are assigned by the technical
hmm
panel. Whatever those levels were assigned, we're keeping those as truth. That's what it is. We're not going to go back in and say, oh, like this edge, because we're using my own video, and
right.
it's not it would be difficult. It could be argued a lot, but
Hmm.
these criteria for the GOE are much more clear
Yeah.
cut, and that's where we're going to be doing, -1, +4, whatever. That's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. But we will offer an interpretation of, hey, here's why this got level
Mhm.
three or something like that, and maybe
Yeah,
what we saw. But right. Anyway, so
yeah.
we're going to go in, we're going to go skate order, chalk and base get it first. We're going to try to skip ahead to what the elements are. We're not going to watch the program for obvious reasons, but let's just start here with their first element, the choreographic assisted jumps. And
Hmm.
again, you're seeing three assisted jumps here.
Hmm.
Oh, turn it very low. Actually, I really like that. Yeah, so two already. And there's your third. And then transition out of it. Okay,
So you can pause it.
so
Yeah.
that's like we can go through this too. So this side you have all the positive features. Again,
Hmm.
it's a by two. 1 to 2 is a +1. 3 to 4 is a +2. 5 to 6 +3, and so on. You can only get +4 and +5 if there are no negative features. But here, going through this first bullet, smooth and effortless. I would say so. I would give it
Agreed.
smooth and effortless, right? I think that was really good. It was really elegant the way they just started.
Mhm.
Element enhances the choreography and or character of the chosen music. And what's
I would say, yeah.
nuances, right?
I would say yes. It sets the theme nicely. So I would say
Hmm.
yes.
So how many from the one to
Now you could
three?
you would give it 1 to 3. I don't think it's
I don't think it's a
absolutely the
three.
best thing in the world. I think it would be a 2.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at four here. I was going to say the same thing, right? Because it
Yeah.
does, but I wouldn't say it reflects all the nuances.
Hmm.
Entry and exit is seamless, unexpected, creative per each. And I wouldn't really say that. I didn't really feel that in this, at least for
I
the
don't.
entry.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Okay.
And exit, I wouldn't say the exit either. Just the pattern that
Yeah.
they're doing. I would not say that the exit is like super.
Um,
But yeah, that's whatever.
but the body lines pleasing, both partners aesthetically pleasing. I definitely give it to her. All throughout. So see
Yeah.
some of the great
Yeah.
leg extension happening there, some cool just like
Hmm.
body positions
Hmm.
as when she's being spun around. I actually think it's really good for her. I'm not really
Hmm.
impressed by what Evan's doing, to be honest, because again, his whole job
Yeah.
is to present her. So I'm at two for
Right.
that. So we're at six here. Element is innovative and or creative, includes a variety of holds. I would say there was some innovation in that second choreographic jump for sure.
Okay, so maybe
Really cool
1.
position. Yeah, so seven.
1. Yeah.
Um, unison or oneness throughout the element. I wouldn't say it was some masterclass of that. It was good though, right? It's just not an element that's going to showcase that very well. It's pretty smooth though throughout. Right. So I
Yeah.
give it a one. Right. And then yeah,
You
nothing
could give something for
else.
speed of rotation, maintain or accelerated, but it wouldn't
Right. But
pertain
yeah,
really to this.
you're
So
right. It
yeah.
really wouldn't pertain to this element at all. And I don't think anything else
Yeah.
qualifies. So we have eight
Yeah.
positive features. I don't think there's any
+4.
negative.
No, me neither.
Yeah. So
+4.
here, four. One, two, three, four. All right, let's go
And
next to the.
just to break in, this is a choreographic element. This is a really easy way to get points. You're going to have to go back on the video a little bit because the way you're going, it's making it super choppy.
Oh, I'm just gonna looking for the.
Okay, so curve
Love
lift.
that.
This part, beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful, perfect.
but
Now
then
here's my
once
issue.
this, it
Step,
starts
step up.
and it slows down a lot once
Yeah.
she's having to step on his legs, and you can see that pressure down, and he wobbles that edge a little bit. But I love the entry, love that first lift. It's that second part of the combination lift, the second curve lift, where I have issues. He slows down, he starts becoming slightly unstable in the edge, and it takes her a while to establish the position, and it's awkward in
Mhm,
between. Those are my
mhm.
first noticings.
I mean, that's what I
Moving,
said. I
yeah,
think that they're throwing a +5 away just on that simple
me too.
kind of it does slow down and it does look like it takes an extra there's some teams that can just whip into these positions. And for me, that would be a clear, this is what differentiates them. This one, I just think they could have made the element a little bit different. And it's a case of semantics, I guess, if you will, that
It's the
that
element
doesn't get
design.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like even just that, that second lift is it's not smooth or effortless to me.
So
So I'm
no
not
points
giving
there.
him
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Element enhance the choreography, character of chosen music. I would say yes, especially that first one. The
Two
second one does too,
two
so I give
points.
it two.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah,
Entry
but you
is
can get
def
it up to three. I'm just saying,
yeah,
I
I
would
give
not
two.
give it the full three because of the. I
Yeah.
would give it two.
Entry is definitely seamless. Love the entry. Just comes out there.
Hmm.
She immediately establishes that position. I would
So
not
it's
give it on the
four.
exit though. Would you give it on the exit?
Uh,
I'm only saying three for that.
Actually, you know what? No, no, no,
Yeah, I don't
three.
give it on the exit
Yeah,
because that second lift
no.
is not good enough. But body line's pleasing. Her partner
For
here,
her,
yeah.
for her.
So I really like that. So definitely gonna give her two for that. So I'm at five.
Hmm.
Element is innovative and or creative. I would give it for the first lift for sure. Love the way that
Yeah,
happens, and the use of the skirt even is really good. It's that again that second lift where I have issues. I think
yeah,
the first part's good enough to give it two. What do you think? So I'm at seven.
yeah. The only thing I would say there, yeah, I agree with that. No, let's just keep going. I'm not going to be that
Yeah.
nitpicky.
Okay.
Seven is
Well, I
fair.
think
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Unison or oneness throughout the element. I would say so. One for that. It's that second part where you
Okay.
feel like it's a little clunky, but the first part's really
Hmm.
good. And then definitely none of the rest
No
apply.
speed. I mean, the speed
No,
doesn't stay, and then
it
nothing
does
else
not.
applies. So we're
So
we're
we're
once
at
again at a
eight
+4. Yeah,
until we
we're
get
at a
to the
+4.
negative, right? And so if I go here negative, I wouldn't call it poor execution or anything like that. I think you have
No.
to get all the way down to lacking or reducing speed across the ice for that second part of the lift, where they get a negative bullet for me. So I'm
I'm
only
not
giving
so
it
sure. I'm not so
because
sure.
it slows down a lot. Like that was my first noticing in person. That second lift,
Yeah.
especially once they're changing position. Um, so I
Okay.
give it a negative, and so now you're at six features. Sorry, no, you're at seven features. But because there is a negative feature in max at +3. Otherwise, it would
Okay.
be a +4.
Okay.
So that's where I go with that.
Okay.
And then Twizzles.
Just play because it's coming up
This
very
way.
soon after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's coming right here. So enters in quick. But the spacing, he starts inching toward her as she does not keep that same speed. And then here, oh, that last rotation and her is in place, but we're not worried. Okay.
Yeah. So just play it again. To go back a little bit and just play it
Yeah.
again because again, I'm sure on the video it's going to be a little bit choppy, and I don't want any question about what we're seeing. So go back to before they start too,
Yeah.
because I just want to show they don't really do anything going into it, and I think that's important to note too.
It just crossovers.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And then right here, I would say stop it. I would say in that first set, she did not move. I mean,
Yeah.
she moved. I want to make it clear. When I say she did not move, I mean it's like a wind-up doll. You pull this wind-up doll, and it goes and it spins for a little bit, but then it just starts spinning in that
Right.
same kind of
And
circle. And I
he
feel
starts
like
gaining on her.
right,
Yeah.
and that's why he gets closer. That's exactly why he
Mhm.
gets closer because she and not to not this is what we're seeing on the screen. And play it again
Yeah.
if you need to, but we're showing that it's she just does not. really get, even here, I would say she's
Yeah.
not moving a tremendous amount. This
Right.
one is okay though. That one
Yeah.
keeps going.
Third is good.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
nothing interesting into or out of it. There's no cool transitions happening. It's not super like
The-
expected,
yeah.
but it is pretty smooth right in the
The
beginning.
positives are they're
Yeah.
pretty matched.
Right. Smooth or effortless, though, I would not put that.
No.
Because it's that the first set for her is pretty laborious.
Hmm.
Element enhanced choreography. I actually think it's well timed to the music. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
just with the nuances here, I'd go and give it a two just for that.
Okay. Okay.
And especially some of the exit, entry, seamless or unexpected or creative. I would not say that for
I
the
would not
exit at
give it
all. No,
anything.
yeah, or the entry because it's just from crossovers. Body lines, pose of both partners slightly pleasing. I would say yes for her for sure. Again, I would actually
Hmm.
maybe even give to him too. One bullet for this because they're actually in great unison, great positioning. It's really clean
Yeah.
looking. So I'm
Yeah.
at four.
Yeah.
Innovative, creative. No, nothing about it is really
Hmm.
innovative or creative.
Yeah.
It's the basic twizzles they've been doing forever. Unison, oneness
Yeah.
throughout the element. I'd give that to them. Yeah. But only the one because again, they're having the spacing issue. It's not like they're perfectly in sync all the way through. Consistent and close spacing between partners, no. Speed of rotations maintained or accelerated, no. Um, Actually, the rotations, sorry. The speed across the ice is not, but the rotations were actually even all the way through, I would say. No,
Yeah.
I would give that to
Yeah.
them. Um, so I'm going to say six here. Speed across the ice, no.
Yeah.
Cleanliness and sureness of steps and turns, I would not really give it that, considering she kind of stops in place for the first set. And then exit
Hmm.
twizzles with smooth running edge, neither. So you're at six, or I'm at
Hmm.
six. So
Hmm.
plus three, just for that. When I go down
Yeah.
here, lacking or reducing speed of rotation or speed across the ice definitely loses that bullet
I
for me
I
for
have to
her.
say, yeah, that's my biggest thing. Like I
Right.
understand that this kind of twizzle, and I've talked to ice dancers that have said, hey,
Mhm.
like really, like they've been told, these slow
Right.
and graceful and matching twizzles are okay, but this really, really,
Hmm.
you look, I would say in the top, maybe even in the top 20, I can think of one other team that I'm not going to mention because we've already mentioned they had a bad day, if that
Right.
tells you anything, but I can only think of them as maybe having worse twizzles. I mean,
Yeah.
really, this is not it's in unison, okay, but it's very simple.
Right.
It does not flow. It's to me, I would completely agree with you that the lacking or reducing speed of rotation or speed across the ice, you have to take away at least one there.
Yeah. And then when I would also take away distance within the element, variable spacing in between partners, because that first set, it starts one and it ends like this.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're a net four positive features, which is a plus two.
And I think that's fair for them every single time. I say,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And for Chalk and Bates is actually one of their better performed twizzles that we see from them. They tend to have worse
Mhm.
issues. So yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna go next to the choreographic step. I think is somewhere.
Just let it play. Let it play because
Yeah.
it's going to take a second to buffer anyways. Now, this, I will just tell you as it's still buffering a lot, but I will tell you this is one of my favorite choreographic steps of the season.
Yeah.
I think that people laugh kind of at like the kind of hops they do when they get towards the end, but I love all of this. I think this
Yeah,
is
I think
right in
so.
character. I think this is one of the few instances of the program that really matches kind of whatever feeling they were going for. I really love the creativity of it. It's not
Hmm.
overly complex. I would say the one they
Yeah.
do in their rhythm dance is more complex, but as
Right.
a character, choreographic, whatever, I think this is top notch. I love this.
Hmm. I think it's really good too, right? So like it's smooth and effortless. I would say though, it's really great. It's going through. They keep a rhythm. They've made some minor changes throughout the season that just kind of keeps it moving and flowing, which I really like.
Hmm.
Enhances choreography, character. I would say give it all three.
Hmm.
So we're at five just with the first two
Yeah,
criteria
it's a
here.
very good one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Exit, entry, seamless, unexpected, creative. I wouldn't say so, really.
It
Um,
doesn't really apply to this,
yeah, it doesn't
it's,
apply. Body lines, pose with partners, pleasing, aesthetically pleasing. I would say, yeah, I would say so. Even if you're not like always in elegant poses, they're in very strong poses that look
hmm
good. So
hmm
I'm gonna give it to both. Um,
hmm
I kind of want to give two to her, one to him. So I'm at eight. I'm at eight here. Element is innovative, creative. I would say some of this choreography you haven't seen before. The way they've done it, I would give it at least one for that.
Hmm.
Unison, oneness throughout the element. Yeah, definitely. So I'm at 11. I
Well,
don't,
yeah, the thing is, you could stop there. Honestly, there's a few
yeah,
other elements that you could. There's
right.
a few other things you could pertain to it,
Right.
but we're
And
already at a
no
plus
negative
five.
features and no negative
Exactly.
features. So this is definitely a 5 choreographic step. And then
Yeah.
they kind of skate around and get to the 1 foot turns. All right, there we go. Counter whistle.
And Twizzleton. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it's like a
actually,
bracket, rocker, counter, twizzle. Good.
it was actually pretty smoothly performed, and I think that the ice coverage, they never ever get really deep into
Never.
their knees where they get these pushes, but this was okay. I'm not gonna. This
Right.
didn't slow down. This kept the flow. It was
Hmm.
acceptable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say smooth or effortless though. It didn't feel like
Yeah.
that to me. I don't know about you.
No.
Element enhances the choreography. No, it just kind of exists with the music and at a slow part, so it's thrown away to me. I'm
I would maybe give a one there,
give it a
to be
1. Okay,
honest
we'll
with
do that.
you.
We're gonna
I
be
don't
nice
think,
about
I
it.
don't, but no, the thing is, there's some programs where truly it's not like, it's
That's
not like
fair.
this middle ground, but I think that it does. It's not completely
Hmm.
off of
Yeah.
the theme.
Entry, exit, seamless, and or unexpected creative. Neither really. They just kind of
No.
yeah. They just kind of yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Body lines, pose, most primarily pleasing. I really wouldn't say that with this element, the way they're doing it. Maybe for her in some of
Yeah.
this, but like it's really not, there's not really going out for pointed toes or any like great,
Yeah.
posture or reach
Yeah.
up. Element is innovative, creative, variety of holds. I really wouldn't say that. Unison won this throughout the element. I would say they were perfectly in sync here, all the way
Yep.
through from
Yep.
body lines to everything. So I'm going to give it 2 bullets for that.
Hmm.
Consistent spacing between partners. I would give it that actually all the way throughout. And it was really good all the way. I
Yeah,
give it
me too.
2. So I'm at
Yeah.
5. Speed of it doesn't apply. Yeah. I mean,
It could.
cleanliness and sureness of steps and turns. Speed of rotations doesn't apply. No. But speed of ice maintained across accelerated during the element. Would you say it's maintained?
I would say it's maintained, but it's at a not a very fast speed. So if you want
Yeah.
to give it a plus one, I mean, you could.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do that. Well, it's 6. And then speed across the ice maintained or accelerated during the element. I would, sorry. I mean, cleanliness of sureness of steps and turns. I would not really say that
No.
because I saw some
No.
too where I'm like, oh, flat to flat, and you're just leaning for both.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's where we are. So we're at 6 here,
Plus three.
plus 3. I wouldn't say there's any real negatives I would take off for.
No.
Yeah. So we're at plus 3. Okay.
A good element. A plus three is a pretty good score. It's not
Yeah.
the most
No,
elite.
it's
A plus
good.
five is for, it's a plus three is good. And we go
And then we
to
should be seeing
again,
the rotational. Yeah.
it takes a few seconds for it to speed back up. That's why.
Oh,
So this actually, I would say, very, very well done. I would
yeah.
say, I don't know about
There
that.
we go.
I that position kind of coming out, I would not say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love it how he's kind of just dragging her where she's just slightly above the ice. I don't
Yeah.
love that position. I think they could have cleaned that up a little bit, and that's just another kind of
Hmm.
semantics thing that will, I mean, could eventually play into the minds of the judges
And
when
it's
they are assigning GOE.
yeah. And it's the same lift from the snake program. And this rotational
Hmm.
lift in the snake charmer program covered more ice. Here, it did not, they by design, it was slower going into it and
Hmm.
out of it. But it was better performed here than in the team event. The team event that exits a little clunky, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's going through this smooth or effortless throughout. I'd probably give that to it, even if it didn't have a lot
I
of distance.
Yeah, I would say I just don't like that position, so you could say it
Yeah.
didn't look so effortless, but I'll still give it the two. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Because it's an
performative.
all
Yeah.
or nothing. You can't give it a 1,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Element
Yeah.
enhanced choreography character. I would say so. It really does. It's to the music. It's a perfect highlight right before kind of like that come down before and then into the dance spin. So I would give it
Hmm.
2 for that. Body
Hmm.
lines, pose, both partners per partner. I would say for her in it, the element. Yeah.
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 Thank God for Madison Chalk.
I know. So I'll give it 7 for that. Innovative,
Okay.
creative with
Six.
variety
You're at
holds.
six.
Sorry, I said 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Innovative or creative. It's hard to say because it's a reused element, really.
That one is subjective. I have a
I
problem with several
know.
of these, like
Yeah,
matching the music, blah blah blah.
they're so
It's
subjective, right?
yeah, they need to
But
get rid of
um,
this stuff, and they would have.
but I'll give it unison and oneness for the element for sure. I think it's really good for that, you know. So I'm gonna give it two. So we're at eight
Mhm,
total features here. And
mhm.
then speed across the ice maintained or accelerated. It was maintained. It wasn't a lot of speed, but it was maintained. So we're at nine
You
here.
think so? Okay, okay.
Uh, it because it says maintained or accelerated, and it was maintained. It just never started with a lot of speed to begin with. So we're at nine,
Yeah, okay.
and then those are the positive features. Going through
Hmm.
here, I wouldn't call any of like thing they did in this poor. So it really is. Did you feel like it was lacking speed across the ice? And I wouldn't say
No,
lacking. It was average. It wasn't to the point to where you would make it negative, in my opinion.
this one I could argue either a +4 or +5. I really could be in
Yeah.
between. I think
Well,
that the +5 is okay.
we're at nine, so that's more than
That's
eight. So that's plus five.
I know, but remember, I
Oh,
just said I'm not so sure about one of those criteria. So for me,
that's
it could be an
fair.
8. Yeah,
Okay.
but we'll go with
Well,
a plus
we'll
five.
go with a
Yeah.
five. Okay. And then it goes straight into the dance spin or next into it. It was an interesting transition into it.
Hmm.
And she's in really interesting positions all the way throughout. Love the way the arms are just doing all the work and the exit here. All right.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's the element.
Hmm.
Smooth and effortless. I'd give it that actually.
I would, yeah.
Yeah. All the way through the transition in and out, both smooth and effortless.
Yep.
Element enhances character. Yes, but not like a lot in terms of like, I wouldn't give it a three. It is in the slower part of the music. Her
I
arms are doing
wouldn't
a
give
lot
it
of
a
work.
2.
Yeah, since it's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Entry exit
Yeah,
seamless though. I give it for both.
I do. Yeah.
So we're five.
Yeah.
Innovative, creative. Yes, maybe for some of her layback with the arms and everything. I'm gonna give her that
Hmm.
one. Unison oneness
1.
throughout the element. Just give it one for that too. It's really good all the
Hmm.
way through. But again, it's always this level of she's doing all the work and he's not. So it's hard for them to get full that's whole unison, like it's doing equal work, both pairs, because she's
Yeah.
doing all the performance and then he's doing all the heavy lifting.
Hmm.
Um,
Speed of
yeah, speed of
rotations
rotations
maintained or
maintained.
accelerated.
I would say so. Maintained.
1.
Yeah, one. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it was like really fast. They weren't really gaining speed all that
Yeah.
well. And so
Yeah.
we're at eight positive features here. I see no
Uh-huh.
negatives.
Me neither. This is a
Okay,
really good dance spin, actually.
it
This
is.
is pretty.
So,
They keep the flow. They're doing a
mhm,
lot of intricacy in and out. This is one of the elements where I really think they actually have something
yeah.
going in and they have something going on that
And
that includes.
and like a lot of teams, they throw the dance spin away more or less with a slow part of the music or something else. Every team almost does this, so it's like not just them. All right, and so then it's the diagonal step here that they're gonna barrel down the ice and get to. Right. They both start with like an outside mohawk, and then they start doing different turns until they end doing the same turn again with the double twizzle.
Hmm.
Yeah, but in between here, all right. So they do a diagonal, and it's mostly diagonal.
No, what I can say about this element, this is another element that I have talked about where I appreciate that they really spread out the choreographic elements really well in this program as opposed to just throwing everything in center ice at the
Yeah.
end of the program like so many
Mhm.
people do. But the problem I have with this diagonal step is they're not the fastest, right? And this is the one element where I think it does start to slow down. I mean, it's not, I don't know even if that it slows down, it's just slow. and it takes a
Yeah.
long time to get through everything that's required. And I don't think it gives a great impression. This is like the climax of the music, right? This really, one of my favorite parts of the entire program, and I told you this in the program, she whips around that corner with this face and this arm, and she's like ready to go into this diagonal step, and you think they're going to whip through it, and it's kind of just like it's there.
And then it,
I
meh.
don't think it's bad. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. It's just they needed something more dynamic, more outreaching, I think, to have that effect of a standout
Mhm.
program.
And this is very
Um,
similar, in a similar spot in the Alien program where this diagonal step sequence is. And I just think back to the Alien program, they're doing way more with the music too. It's still choreographed a little differently, whereas this, it feels more like skating through. But
mhm.
if we're just going through these bullets, I don't give it smooth and effortless.
I've
Because
the thing is they move that's a tough one, right? Because this is another subject. They do move through
right,
it. They have a lot of holds. They have a lot of, there are a lot of
yeah,
different holds. I don't think it's like I wouldn't say effortless, certainly
right,
not. But is it smooth? It is pretty
right. But you
smooth.
can't just give it the one. That's
Yeah, so it's
right.
zero. I know.
I would
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
but an element enhance the choreography character slightly. They're not really doing a lot of nuanced
Maybe a one.
choreography. Yeah.
Yeah.
Body lines, pose, the partners. I actually wouldn't give this either because the way that he's so stiff and she's never really showcased all that well in this step sequence. And there's a lot of moments of her just kind of holding on very tensely to him. I don't give body
Um,
lines to this.
I like her back in some of these when they're doing
Same.
these rotational kind of things. I would
So
actually
we'll
give
give the
her maybe
one.
the one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll give the one. Element is
Yeah.
innovative, intercreative, or includes a variety of holds. It does, just by virtue of this being a step sequence, has to include. So let's
Yeah.
just give them that because it's, for level, you have to put these holds in.
Yeah.
Unison,
Yes.
one is throughout the element. I would say so, yeah. They're really great in tune with
Yeah.
each other. Their spacing is actually really good all throughout.
Yep. You could give the
I
two.
I was gonna be tempted to give the two because I remember
Mhm.
watching live and being like, oh wow, like they're so close to danger, just how close their blades are together.
Yeah.
Um, Consistent close spacing between partners, I would actually give them that, right?
Okay.
Speed, yeah, yeah. Speed across the ice maintained or accelerated in the element.
No.
Yeah, I'm not giving that to them. Cleanliness, sureness of steps and turns, no, because you have to be completely clean for that, and they weren't. You had some again
Hmm.
flat turns here.
Hmm.
So I'm at 6. Um,
Okay.
and going through the negative features, it's average speed. I wouldn't say it's like the slowest thing out there. It's also
It's
not the
not
fastest
bad.
thing out
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and so I wouldn't give it any negatives.
I agree. I
Okay,
would not dock them 1 to 2 points
okay,
for speed. It's acceptable speed. It's not the big bang that you want to end the
yeah,
program, but it's also not
hmm
like it's not a terrible thing. So three, yeah, I think
yeah.
a three is okay. And then this slide, this is another repeat element that
Yes,
we've seen in
it
previous
is.
program.
Also from the Alien program,
Yeah, this is yeah, Olympic best of.
like
So you
Papadopoulos
can
as
pause it
well.
actually right there. I, I don't know what it is. To me, aesthetically, this is just not it.
From
I'm
him,
not saying
no.
you need to deduct well, he looks like he's in agony. They put this picture all over to highlight their team event free dance, and she is like, so like into it, and he looks like he's about to puke. And they
Yeah.
use this picture so often. I'm like, what is
Um,
going on? You can tell he feels the pain in this move.
yes, just from that too. It's like he looks more labored in this. I wouldn't say smoother effortless just for that. Um, but element enhanced the choreography character. I would say so. I liked it a lot. I would give it 2 for that.
Okay.
Um, Entry, exit, seamless. I would say the entry and exit are
Mm,
the entry anyway.
so
No,
we'll do
see, so Tony's a
one.
no. Okay, okay.
So we'll do
Uh,
one. Yeah.
Body lines pleasing both partners for her for sure.
For
So
her,
give it a
yes.
4.
Him,
Right,
no.
right.
Yeah.
And but the costume bunching up and being pulled forward by her instead of him now is a little distracting. She's
Uh,
doing it. So I wouldn't give it the full 2 for that.
yeah. Yeah.
Innovative, creative. Yes,
I mean,
even if
we've
it's
seen it before,
reused,
so it's kind of, yeah.
would go
I would
5.
give it one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1 for that.
Yeah.
Unison, 1 is throughout the element
No, because
because of
him.
him. Right,
I just
right.
don't like the positioning. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Speed maintained or accelerated during the element.
I mean, I guess it could be maintained. It's not that like they, I don't know. Can we? Yeah, I would say yeah.
6. Okay. So we're at
Yeah.
6. I don't, nothing was bad enough to be negative to me. Even if he looked a little labored, it wasn't enough to be a negative feature for me.
Yeah.
So we're at 6
That's
here. That's a +3.
You could potentially probably find another point in there somewhere to give them a
Yeah.
+4 for the element, but for
Right. I
me,
think you
it's
were
just not a
stingier than I
plus.
was.
Yeah, but I would say I don't know. I think a +3 is really the right move for this one. I don't find it spectacular.
Right.
You
Because
saw
it's,
slide
mhm.
movements from like Smart and Deke. For me, that would be like a +5 for
And again,
sure.
this is
This one's
performed slower than in the Alien program. A lot more
yeah,
controlled, slower. Alien program is a lot more dynamic, fast, and the entries a lot cooler and more difficult. So
yeah.
there. So now we're at composite, or sorry, program components, and so we have this chart. Um,
There is a bigger chart somewhere that explains a little
yeah,
bit more in detail, but this is
we'll
pretty
keep this one
much
for
it's
now. Yeah,
condensed.
and we'll
Yeah,
zoom it because we know we're not going to go too far down this. Yeah. All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So again, there's only three components now: composition, presentation, or skating skills. These are the bullets under it. So it's what it is, and then what you're looking for. So composition, it's the intentional, developed, and or original arrangement of the repertoire of all types of movements into a meaningful whole according to the principles of proportion, unity, space, pattern, and musical structure.
Okay, so I
Word
want to take
salad.
the lead kind of I want to take a
Yeah,
lead on
go
this
ahead.
because I get a lot of slack on social media because people have just been hitting me so hard about how I hate chalk and baits, and all I ever revert to is this skating skills thing. I am probably the most aware person of all the components of the PCS and what entails every single part of it. I'm not just looking at skating skills, but the
Yeah.
skating skills to me are a huge part. Everything
Hmm.
is equally equal in weight. But I mean, I'm going to get into why I think I have a little bit of an issue with the PCS to begin with. But okay, let's look at composition. So
Yeah. Yeah.
multi-dimensional movements and use of space. The thing for me is the use of space is not great. It is not great. I'm not saying give them a 5.0, but it's slow, and
Hmm.
because of that, you're not using as much space by default.
And
I
it's
wouldn't.
not,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna go back. It's not slow. It's just not fast. Let's put it that
Right.
way. They don't get strength from their pushes. They're not really getting into their knees. I would say that it's just very it's good. It's not great. Okay.
Hmm.
So there's that. Multi-dimensional movements. This is another one. We know he has back pains. I'm not using this as an excuse, but he's not doing much as far as using, it's not a lot of multi-directional. It's not a lot of using the full body. There's just not a lot going on for him.
Yeah.
For her,
Hmm.
absolutely, yes. She's the one presenting, but he's really just kind of there presenting her, and it's kind of with an upright back. And so for that, I would say the composition it ties into the skating skills as well in a sense because of the posture. But if you're looking at the composition of the program, it's very one note for him. That's at least in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Hmm.
Connection between and within the elements. I would say within the elements, it's great. I mean, they're always almost perfectly matched. I mean, there's few cases where I would say the choreographic slide, yeah, like he looks like he wants to be anywhere but there. I'm sure he's in pain, but I can't like zoom in on that one element and say, oh, there's no connection. I do think that this program is, from a composition standpoint, I think it's choreographed pretty well. It is my favorite free dance that they've done since the Alien program by far. Um, I can't, I don't think it's a masterpiece, but do I think it's excellent? Yeah, I think it's quite good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, Choreography
Yeah.
reflecting. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say agreeing with you. Yeah, there, and choreography does reflect the music pretty well here to me. That's really good. It's more
Yeah,
just the pattern and ice coverage. The pattern's pretty one dimensional all the way. It's just kind of
yeah,
back and forth, back and forth.
yeah,
And then but the unity's pretty nice all the way through. Again, just this few issues here where when he does that rotational lift, he hits her in the head. I didn't mention that, I forgot to, but he bumps
yeah,
her or
yeah,
she bumps him in
yeah,
the head with her elbow. And so just you see little small things like that happening. And then again, it's not really even
yeah.
the work they're doing
So,
in different aspects.
so my whole thought on this, if you're looking at all these criteria within it, I would have them probably at a 9.0 or a 9.25.
Yeah.
That would be where I would
Okay.
slot them into.
Let's go 925, right? Because we're looking here excellent, and you describe this as excellent,
Hmm.
and that's literally the
Hmm.
definition of something in this range. But the
Yep.
categories are kind of stupid, everybody. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Platinum,
Gold,
diamond.
green, orange, whatever. Yeah.
Oh. right?
Yeah.
Like it was written
Yeah.
by my mother or something.
Yeah.
Um, but here, 925. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Presentation.
Presentation.
The
So
demonstration of engagement, commitment, and involvement based on an understanding of the music and composition. Yeah.
expressiveness and projection. Now, this is another tough one because she's the one that's, and they said as much. I mean, people that want to argue this, you go to the Glitter and Gold documentary, and Adam, I think it was Adam that said,
I know.
she's the one doing all the work and he's just there. And,
He's
and they
presenting
kind
her.
of do this, he's presenting her. And it is, I think that, this program is supposed to be this bullfight kind of thing. And I do think it's tame if you're looking at it literally. I think that she sells it so well from start to finish. She always gives this face. Coming around the corner, she has her face. He just really is kind of vacant, to be honest with you. I don't know what's going on with him. I
Mhm.
feel like this whole Olympics and this whole second half of the season he's been kind of down and out for whatever reason, but it does kind of extend itself into the projection of the program. I don't think that he really has that tension in his body and the movement to really project as it should be. Variety and contrast of energy and or movements. I would say that's better than the
Yeah.
first part of it. Because they do. It's the same music and it's kind of going between this like slower to faster to slower to more upbeat throughout the whole program. So they do have to kind of change their energy throughout. And I think they do that pretty well. I just don't know that
Right.
the movements, I can't really say he's doing much again. So
Right.
that's kind of iffy for me right there. Musical sensitivity and timing. Again, I mean, they're in unison. A lot of these elements are choreographed pretty well to the music for the most part. So I think her, again, sensitivity, yeah, she feels the music, she can sell whatever. Him, he's not really giving much of anything, but the timing is quite good. I would
Right.
say, like, out of all the teams, that is one thing they have going for them. I feel like their timing is always pretty spot on. They don't ever fall behind or get too far ahead. I think that that is one of their strengths as well. And then openness and aware of space.
Oneness,
Yeah,
not
two
openness.
shall skate as one, even though this is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not openness, sorry. Oneness.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, I I think that they're very good at this too. I mean, they do always match, and this is really important. Their lines typically match, even though she, I would say, is much more flexible and she has much more going on. She doesn't have the back problems that it seems he has. They still manage to match pretty well together. So for this, again, I'm kind of like, if I'm looking at the presentation, this one I would say 9.25 to 9.5. I would be higher than composition. So I'm thinking
Yeah, that's
I
where I
want
had
to
it.
go
9.5.
9.25, but I think a 9.5 is probably fair. Yeah.
Yeah, 9.5 is where I had it, too, just for the very same reasons you did. It's very excellent, but just the fact that it was an uneven distribution, even in terms of the presentation, I can't give it that because that's part of the oneness too. You know what I mean? Like they're both doing this equal work. They're both projecting out into the audience, and
Mhm.
only Madison's really projecting out into the audience. I don't see really Evan doing that nearly as much. Again, he's mostly presenting her. But
Mhm.
yeah, next one, skating skills. The ability of the skater to execute the skating repertoire of steps, turns, and skating movements with blade and body control.
Variety of edges, steps, turns, movements, and directions. Now, I, I, this one, I don't know where I can go with this because to me, there's not a lot of complexity in what they're doing. And
Mhm.
I think that when you're looking at variety of turns, you have to again go back to him. And I really don't think that there's much going on at all. It's more of him presenting her, like you said, and then
Yeah,
even then, he's not really doing much. It's more upright, just kind of there. And then I would say also directions. I don't see a
there's
tremendous
not.
amount of like
Mhm.
counter rotation, directional difficulty. Any of that. Again, it's not like an average kind of thing. It's just it's good, very good, whatever. I would say very good. Okay.
Yeah,
Nothing more than that. Clarity of edges, steps, turns, movements, and body control. This is hit or miss because in some things, yes, I would say they have the clarity of edges,
he
steps.
does for the body
Yeah,
control and movement for
yeah,
sure. Just
yeah.
not the edges and turns, right? Whereas he has it more
Yeah.
on the edges, steps and turns. Like even going back to the
Mhm.
diagonal step, the only time anyone's ever doing a turn that's kind of like really sweeping, that's like rotating around the other person or creating some interesting pattern is when he's doing it. I'm pretty sure he counters around her, but she never does anything of the sort.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. Balance and glide. I would say the glide is kind of lacking. This is
yeah,
something some
for sure.
skaters just get natural. They get like this lilt out of their knees and their knee bend, and they get this power. And you don't really you see just in the twizzles, for example, they're not moving. You see in the 1 foot step, it kept a reasonable amount of speed, but they're not gaining speed out of these crunching the ice with these perfect curves. So I think there you could say, the glide is never tremendously good. Let's put it that way.
Hmm.
The flow is kind of extends to that as well because the speed isn't really there. I would say the flow is okay, but it's not anything exceptional. I think that it's very short-lived, if you will. They need
Yeah.
more pushes than most. Yeah. Power
Hmm.
and speed. The speed is, of course, speed is what I said. It's not the fastest. It's not the slowest, but it's not great. The speed is
Hmm.
just kind of, I think they're one of the slower teams.
Yeah.
Unison, give them all the points for that. The unison is, like we said, unity in composition and unison in skating skills. It kind of overlaps, and we said it at both times. This is where
And
they,
oneness in
you know,
presentation, right? It's an all in one.
no. And what about openness, though? Where's openness at?
But all right.
So,
Where was
so
we going?
this one for me
I have mine.
is I'm really torn because if you look at the definitions,
Okay, so I'm going to
I'm
say what I was
either
going to say.
I'm either 8.75 or 9.0. It's really tough for me to decide which one between those two. I
I
think
am an
because of the
8.75.
unison, are you? I think because of the unison being just so good all the time, I might push it up to a 9. But then some of these other ones are just like in the very good to like maybe good
Right.
category that,
Yeah.
I think either one is acceptable. We never see the judges, by the way. We never see the judges give anything less than like a 9.5. But we just went through the criteria and like
Right.
this
Because
is
if we're
what
doing
the
this
conclusion
seriously,
is.
I would really argue for 8.75 because for me it's
Okay,
very good. Wouldn't okay. I
we'll
was
put
I was
8.75.
I was generous in the other two and went to the higher end. So all right.
Okay,
So we're
okay.
done with that. Let's calculate and see what happens here. Um
We had, by the way, I just want to mention, like we said, well, yikes. Oh my God. Okay. 126.06.
Okay, 126.06 here. And then we're being pretty harsh, I would say, but with everything, being really strict with everything. We have PS of 71.06, 55 PCS, and then our GOE total is, let's see. Oh, I don't know how to add.
It would be 24 point something. 24 point uh
Okay, 24.27.
27.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so there we are. Oof.
Uh-huh. So you
We
you
might
wrote it all down,
I
correct?
wrote
You
it
got
all
it.
down.
You
I'm
got
like,
it.
are we about to get
Okay.
flamed for this? Oh my goodness. All right. Okay.
But what
So,
else, but I just want to say really quickly, we did not plan any of this ahead of time. We've literally been running all day long from practice, and last night we didn't even look at anything. So these scores are like a surprise to us too. So I thought it was going to go one way. I was pretty convinced it
all
was going to go one way, and now I'm not so sure. So
right. So
yeah.
let's see. I'm gonna go
Well,
ahead.
now
We've
you have them
got
on full screen. Yeah. Okay.
no, we're good now. Okay, let me go back here
Yeah.
to that. And we're gonna
And please give me a little shout out for this recording I did with my cell phone. I mean, this is like all cell phone material.
yeah. So we're gonna skip ahead here just to where the actual kind of like entry is here. Here we go. They're gonna
And I'm gonna say it, the issue kind of gets slightly cut off. It's my cell phone. Don't flame me for this.
but it's really great in the first set here. Love the entry, love the speed, love that when
That
he's
was
getting edges
so
out.
good.
So good.
This
And then it's the
interweaving, I
second
love it.
set. Ooh, and then there's that second set, right? And so it cuts off what happens to him. I did watch this one part in the what was on YouTube.
Yeah,
And so immediately you see that he does not hold that edge coming out. He steps
yeah,
down after he
yeah,
finished the
yeah.
rotation. You can tell that he's
And he tries to
leaning.
cover it.
He
He tries to
covers it
cover it by like
pretty
doing this
well.
step. Yeah.
yeah, pretty smoothly, I would say the cover is. But, it's a very
Yeah.
obvious error here. It results in his three because there is that step out, and that's why he's level three. And even then, if I'm nitpicking her a little bit, she slows down that second set.
Yeah, if we're gonna call it medicine chalk out for kind of
Yeah,
rotating in place, you have to also
she does too.
Laurence
Laurent does.
is she's nervous here, and you can see that it just
Mhm.
kind of had that same effect. So
So immediately smooth and effortless, no, from neither. So neither qualify, can't get that. Element enhanced
mhm.
choreography character, it really does. It's really good, but because they have that issue at the end, I wouldn't give it the three. I know we've wanted to give it three before.
Yeah,
I'm only at a two here.
yep.
Entry, exit, seamless, unexpected. Entry definitely,
Entry,
exit, no.
yes.
Absolutely not the
Yeah,
exit. So
yeah,
there's three.
yeah,
Body lines, both partners pleasing. I'm only giving this to her because he has a really awkward exit or mistake in the
yeah.
end of the second. So I'm going to give her
So four.
one. Yeah, well, four for that. Innovative,
Yeah.
creative. Yes, it definitely is. I don't think though it can get the full because again that mistake in the second. Um,
So two.
so we're at six features here.
Yeah.
Unison, oneness throughout. You can't because of that
I
mistake at
can't.
the end. You
I
cannot.
can't.
Consistent
Yeah.
spacing. I would say so, even if there is that issue at the end. But he steps so
Yeah.
far to the left, it kind of alters that spacing. So I don't even want to
So
give him
let's
that.
yeah, let's not give that because it's more of a
Um,
negative than a positive.
but speed of rotations maintained or accelerated, they were. But I'm not going to give it the full two because of his mistake. Speed
Hmm.
across the ice, no, because she slows down that second set.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Cleanliness, no. Exit of Swizzles performed a smooth running edge by both partners. Like definitely would not happen in that second set.
Yeah, but in the first set,
The first set, so they get it. So eight, right? So you
yeah,
base
eight
eight before you take anything away.
positive.
Eight positive. But going through
Yeah.
his poor execution or element labor, lost control with or without additional port, he definitely loses control.
So I'm gonna give
Six,
it, this is actually a pretty decent sized, thing. So I would maybe take away two here.
two, right? Yeah.
So we're at six.
We're at six
Just hold
here.
up your, well, they can't see
Oh,
this
sorry,
anyways,
sorry.
but
Eight. So we're at
people can't see us
six.
on the screen. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, it, then poor exit for him. So
I
that's
would say yes.
so now you're at
Another
net
one.
five.
Hmm.
Poses or moves awkward, not aesthetically pleasing. No, I
No,
wouldn't say any of
I don't
that.
care.
But lacking or reducing speed for her, for sure. So I'm at four here. Four net features.
But
So
you
it's a
also go to six and you see execution not simultaneous and or lack of unison.
oh yeah,
I mean, you
definitely
kind of
more.
have to dip
Yeah,
something there too. So give one
yeah.
because it's one
So we're
swizzle.
at
So
so we're at net three positive features, which is a plus two.
which I think is honestly a little bit. I have to, I would say I have to give this a plus one.
Where else are you taking away? Because it's three net. Because see, this is like feelings versus like what's actually the rubric, right?
Well, you know what? But no, because I think the execution, if you go to it, you can give one to two negative features for that. And just it was such an glaring like lack of unison at the end.
Okay.
I would say you could I would go
So,
plus one
okay,
on this
let's go
element.
one. We'll go one, right? I'll buy that. So we're at plus one here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so next is the 1 foot turns.
Now he is the
Absolutely.
master of 1 foot turns. If we put
Yes.
this in
Hmm.
slow motion, you would see just
So
how
good.
definitive his edges are, like so good.
Yeah.
And this, okay, you can pause
Love
it.
the
The
exit.
one thing the one thing we are not doing is playing the music on this. And I will say this element matches the music so well. Like
Yeah.
this is an instance of it really follows what the music is doing. They've changed this since the beginning of the season. It was a little bit more interesting, I think, at the beginning of the season, but they found a way for it to actually fit the music better now. So
Mhm.
smooth and or effortless, you have to give
Yeah.
it. You have to
Yes.
give it
Give it to
there.
it. It's a really good element.
Yeah.
Enhances character choreography. I would say so. All right, what are you doing here? Two?
I could even, I mean, element reflects nuances in the music. I think this is probably pushing a three.
The original
Really.
version pushed a three for me. just
But not
just
this one.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'll
So we'll
go
do
two.
two. Okay, okay.
Entry, exit, seamless. I would say the exit. I wouldn't say the entry is just kind of like skating into it,
Hmm.
So we have the exit. Body lines, pleasing both partners. I would say yes for both. So I'm at a seven,
Yes.
one per.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they were really kind of going for it. Innovative, creative. I wouldn't say that. It just is a standard 1 foot
Yeah.
turn
Yes.
sequence. Unison, one is for the element for
Unison.
sure.
Yes.
So two for
Yes.
that. So
Both.
we're at
Yep.
nine net positive. Consistent close spacing, yeah, I would give it two for that. So we're at 11.
Hmm.
We're already at a +5. And we're going
Hmm.
through this cleanliness, I'd give them that too. So you're at net
Speed.
13
Yeah.
speed, right? And so
Speed
then you're
too.
at 14 or 15 positive
15.
features,
Yeah.
and nothing's negative, in my opinion.
You cannot, I don't see anything wrong with this. I, and I want to make it clear again. When you can get through the element and there's no major bobbles or mistakes, it doesn't matter necessarily the level because a lot of people are saying they don't understand that the judges are not seeing the level that's assigned.
Yeah.
So for all they know, this could be a base level element. You're not judging the level. You're not judging whether the rocker was clean or the twizzle was clean. You're judging what is on this
Right.
matrix that we're going through. And because she got a level three on hers does not mean that you cannot assign all these positive criteria. And I think a lot of people
Right.
let this go over their heads and they don't understand that there's not a connection between the judges seeing the level and then
Mhm.
because it was a level four, you give a +5. If it's a level three, oh no, you have to give a +3 or +4. It's not like that. This to me, like you said, it is built in with so many positive criteria that this is a clear +5.
Yeah. And I think she misses either the rock or the counter. I don't remember. I was just watching it, but anyway.
Mhm.
So that's why she's level 3, but it's so slight to me. It's just like, oh, like the turn slightly into the flat before it changes the edge. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, okay, whatever. The
Yeah.
judges can't see that. All right. Next thing is the
Yeah.
rotational.
This is one where I wish we had the music because this does affect the element a little
Yeah.
bit, I would say.
Ooh, yeah.
So if you want to play it again, you can play it again. I mean, it ends fine. I love how it ends, but you
Yeah.
will see Guillaume Cizeron
Right.
does not hit a bad
Yeah.
position, and you will see him hunched over at the beginning of this. Like you could see it's off.
Yeah,
It is
see,
off
Hunch, and
right
then
here.
there, he has to reach with his foot
Yeah.
there. You see that again, and
Yep.
the judges can replay
Yep.
in real time, everybody. So this is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't add us about how we're pausing everything and going in slow motion because they're allowed
Look,
to do
see,
it
look
whenever
how
they want.
hunched, and then he's the huge
You
step
you
just
see.
there.
You
He has to
see. Yep.
rebalance, but he finds it. He cleans it up really well. And just here, already we have two very visible issues from Guillaume that he disguises
Hmm.
quickly and pretty well. But if you know this program and you've seen this skate, you know how they normally skate, you know these are mistakes.
If you watched his skates, you could see that
Oh, yeah,
big
that
kind of
too.
step.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If you watch his
So
blades, like he should always be doing.
this element is one that I think a lot of people will say, oh, maybe the lifts aren't as difficult, but this element, this wah
It's
wah wah,
incredibly.
it
This
fits.
is an incredibly difficult lift. Let's just get out of the way.
Hmm.
The way they enter into it, the hold, which is on the
Hmm.
back, and then he has to actually whip her around to then put her in front of her, and then into that transition out. It's an incredibly complex lift. So that's
Yeah.
no, you're all wrong. I'm sorry, but you're wrong if you think this is a simple lift. But now, well
So
executed. Mm,
no. So let's go through it. Smooth and or
yeah,
effortless?
no,
Absolutely not. 0 points
because it's
there.
very right.
Element element enhances the choreography and the character of chosen
But
music.
not as
Now
well as it
this is what I'm
does.
saying. This is what I'm saying. If we heard the music, you would understand what I'm saying because it was not on timing. It was a
Yes.
rough start. He had to step forward. It didn't really rotate in the sense that it should have been. I
But they
don't
catch it
even
at the
know.
end.
So do you give it a plus
I
one
give it the
or
one. I give it the one here because
okay.
for the last half of the rotations and then the exit, it's perfectly with the music, and the entry is really good
Okay.
too with it. So I give it the one. But again, like you're saying, it has those issues. That's why you don't get all
I
three.
could, but I could see where you could go to a negative feature for that. So we're just going to break
Mhm.
even with nothing. I'm kind
Maybe
of
right.
feeling so we'll see if that
I
even
don't
makes a
think
difference
does
in the
not
end.
reflect right. Okay, but entry exit, that balance issue is so close to the entry. I'm not giving them the seamless entry, but the
Agreed.
last half of the lift, you wouldn't, if you just look at the last half, you wouldn't know there was a mistake. The
So
exit's
fine.
really good.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Innovative, creative. Yeah, the hold is 100%. innovative and
No,
creative.
body lines. You skipped
Oh,
body
sorry,
lines.
body lines. Ooh, body lines. Right. For him, no, not at all, because he has that hunching over. I can't give that
And I would say
compliment.
not her either. I wouldn't say her either, just because,
And it
it's
was
not
never
really
built in to
aesthetically.
have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But innovative, creative, that whole 100% is the way it's designed
Hmm.
is, but the way they executed it didn't really meet the design for the timing and everything. But I'm
Hmm.
definitely giving for
Hmm.
the hold and the entry, everything really creative.
Hmm.
Unison, oneness, it was not great. Just the element execution, and so it's hard to like give that to it, even if this. But the connection between the two is very smooth. Like she does her job very well, so I'd
Uh,
give them the one. But
okay.
right. The next doesn't
Speed of
apply. Speed,
rotations maintained or accelerated. I
it
I I think
was
that it did accelerate, but it's this is a
maintained.
tough one.
It
Maybe
maintained.
one.
It accelerated. I'm just giving
Yeah.
it the one just because he had the mistake where he does have to lurch forward a little bit here.
Hmm.
Speed
Hmm.
across the ice maintained. Yeah, I would say so still, even with the issue. I wouldn't give it the whole two just because there was that
Hmm.
slight step here. So I'm at six positive
Six.
features. And that's where we end with the positive features at six.
Uh-huh.
Going through the negative, poor execution, labored, loss of control. I would give it one negative bullet for that because he
Yeah.
does have that
Yeah.
one section of poor execution. So we're at net
Yeah.
five. I wouldn't say the element does not reflect the choreography of the chosen music, even
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
don't.
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I wouldn't call the entry poor either, just not enough to be positive. Now poses,
Uh,
it wasn't.
that one's
The entry was
questionable.
fine. I just wouldn't give the positive entry feature because the issue is so
Okay.
close to the entry. But
Okay.
poses or moves awkward, 100% he does. In that little bit,
Yeah.
it's awkward. Definitely giving him a knock for that. So we're at net four for me.
Hmm.
Um, Nothing else is really an issue here.
Lacking or reducing speed, no.
No.
Um,
So we're at net four, I think, which is plus two.
plus two element. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna set type the two. There we go. All right. Dance spin. And they should go new dance spin. I love how he does real difficult positions where most men just are doing a regular camel because a regular camel
Upright,
counts
yeah, or
for a
something.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, this is better than
So
some of the
good.
spins that the pairs do.
Yeah. Love that too.
Yeah.
And technically that element's over, but just the connection
Yeah.
between the choreography is so good in this dance
Hmm.
spin.
Hmm.
Definitely smoother, effortless to me.
Two.
Enhances choreography character. I would say so too. I give it a two.
Hmm.
Element reflects his nuances the music, 100%. Entry exit is seamless. Yeah, for both.
Hmm.
So I'm at net six. Body lines pleasing both partners. Yeah. Um, for him too, and her. Love that layback position. Oh, love the almost like Bielman position. I'm going like I want to give four total features, two per.
Mm, you could.
Yeah, so I'm at net 10 for the dance spin so far.
Okay.
Innovative, creative. Some of the positions there, we've seen them all, but
I would give one. I would give one.
his camel's innovative. Because again, a man doesn't
Yeah.
need to do any difficult position in camel for it to count as a difficult position. They just have
Hmm.
to do a camel in ice dance.
Hmm.
So we're at 11. Unison oneness for sure, plus two for that. So we're at 13. The dance spin definitely speed of rotations maintained or accelerated. Yeah. So we're at like 14, 15 positive features here with no
No
negatives.
negatives.
So plus
Yeah.
five easy. So this dance spin is an easy plus five. All
Yeah.
right.
Agreed. It's
And
one of
then
the
it,
best ones. The only problem they had earlier in the season, they had um
oops.
did we just lose our whole thing?
No, here we
No.
go.
Okay.
Thank
Um
God.
Earlier in the season at Grand Prix final, they had the traveling issue. So here there was none of that.
Mhm.
If you watch, they're pretty well centered. He fixed that issue. All right, so we go into the next element, and this is the showstopper, I would say.
Yeah, so good.
Whips around, goes straight down into this shoot the duck-esque. She's balancing on him.
Ah,
He's holding her, and now she has to change her weight. She puts her arm around him so he can curve and do the second part of this curve lift. Then it's up, and he sets her down.
And then,
You
all
could
right,
play it again. You
yeah,
could play it again.
yeah. I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So again, I think people think maybe this is a lot easier. This is insanely difficult,
not
what she's doing right there.
easy. Nothing
Balance is
about
like
this is
perfect.
easy.
Yeah. Then for him to get up as effortlessly from that position as he does,
And
it's
lift
really
her up.
something. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
All right. So smooth and effortless. Yes, 100%. Enhances choreography, character, chosen music. So good all the way
I
through.
think so too.
I think
Yeah.
all three bullets for that one.
I would think so too. This
So
is really the highlight of the
it's
program.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's the best thing in this program. Entry,
Mhm.
exit, seamless. I would say yes for both.
Yeah.
So 7 bullets here. Body lines, pose,
Hmm.
but yes, yes for both. Even for him in this low crouch, he's had that leg
Hmm.
extension out. That is just so gorgeous. I want to give him 4 bullets for this too, like 4 features. Like it's just so good. So we're already at 11. Unison oneness, yeah. So that's 13 net. Speed across the ice maintained, 100%. This flowed.
Hmm.
It was so good, so in control. I'd give it 2 for that.
Hmm.
And so we're at like 15 positive features here, way
No
more,
negative.
no negatives at all. This is an easy +5 lift. Um,
And I just want to point out, like you see, I mean, this is, I'm sure people are going to say this is still subjective. You're giving points where you shouldn't. But personally, and I think you will agree, they built in so many positive features that even if you want to be nitpicky throughout and say, okay, I'm only giving 2 instead of 4, you're still way over. You only need 9 positive features to get that +5. If we're at 15, take away 6 wherever you want to, pick and choose. But they still would get the +5. And I really would
right.
argue there is nowhere where you can say, oh, the negative features need to be applied because there's
Mhm.
nothing there that I would say it's not a questionable element. Okay, let's move on to Serpentine's step
Steps, yeah,
sequence.
which I recall being amazing until it's not.
Yeah, it was flowing so well. I think even
Yeah.
Paulina in front of us was like, oh, like just like
And then we were
very
like,
like and
right,
I was
and
recording and they both looked at me and I'm like, just
right.
keep watching.
And it's a perfect step sequence until that twizzle, right? And then
Yeah,
and then hers, since she sets down that foot too, and no one
yeah.
caught her mistake.
So go back, just go
So
back
the
to
whole
that part.
thing, okay,
No, just go back to that part, like a few seconds before. So
yeah.
and pause it
So
right
look at
after
this.
his so we can show what's going on with
Look at
him.
this twizzle and how he's awkwardly crunched forward.
Yep,
He sticks his hip
yep,
out, and it's a bad position. And so he does not get credit for that double twizzle.
yep.
And then
And
look at
then
her
she goes
here,
for
and
it,
then she does
and
too,
she puts
and
her
she
foot down
sets
too.
down and not before, right. And no one catches hers because she disguises it really well and looks great making this mistake.
Yeah,
So it's not necessarily a visible mistake that you would deduct GOE for her, but for him, 100%.
the judges should have absolutely
The
seen
judges
this
should have for him. Yeah, and the judges should have for her too because they're
for her
supposedly have trained
too.
eyes. Yes, they should have.
There's no excuse to
Yeah.
not to say, oh, we didn't see that, you
Yeah.
know. So
But
okay, we'll
it's
pause
so
that.
let's go through this. So just for that, it's not smooth and effortless because just that
Correct,
one mistake he makes cannot be. Element
correct.
enhances character. Yeah, it's a really great step sequence. The way they curve to the music, the way they weave to the music, it's really great.
I would give it
Um,
2.
I would give it 2, right? Because the mistake.
Yep.
Exit, entry, seamless success. I wouldn't say for either. No,
No.
even if performed well.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing really happening. They just do crossovers into it and out of it. Body lines, pose, blood part, aesthetically pleasing for her, for sure. For him, because he
Hmm.
has that really awkward moment, you can't give it to him. I don't think, even
Hmm.
if he's
Okay.
beautiful all the way before that.
But would you
So,
give her 2? I would not give
I,
her 2. I would give her
do you just give
1.
her 3? Okay, so we're at
Yeah.
3. So give her 1. We're at net 3.
Yeah.
Element is innovative, creative, variety of holds. Variety of holds. Everyone's getting it.
Variety of holds, yes, that's it.
4.
But not,
That's it.
yeah.
Unison, 1 throughout the element. Yes, until there's not. So I'd give it the 1.
Okay.
Um, consistent
See,
and
this
close
is another one though
spacing.
where I could argue, if we go back to that, I would argue with you that you might give them a positive one, but then you might take it away for a negative feature because it wasn't. So,
Well, I mean, like, I don't think it changed the timing of anything that happened. They
no.
disguised it
Okay.
well and everything. Like, it still ended exactly on
Okay.
time,
Yeah,
still to the
I could
beat.
agree with that. So
Yeah.
we're at net 5.
But
Net 5.
yeah, we're okay. We're at that 5. Consistent and close spacing. I would say yes. Just the
Yeah,
one though. I wouldn't give it like
yeah.
two. No. So we're at net six here. And then speed across the ice maintained. Yeah, I would say it's really great all the way through. I'll only give it the one though, again, because there's that
Because
slight
yeah.
awkwardness of the mistake from him. Whereas for her, I would still give it to her if he didn't have that mistake and
Hmm.
give it the two
Hmm.
overall.
Yeah.
Cleanliness and sureness of steps. No, we can't.
You can't give it.
Sorry,
You can't give
can't
it.
give it.
Yeah.
So we're at net seven, or sorry, we're at seven just starting out, which is a plus
Hmm.
four before we take anything away. And
Yeah.
so poor execution, element labor, loss of control. So there is definitely loss of control from both.
I would give negative for her
Two,
too.
negative.
I mean, I would
I
go
wouldn't
negative
necessarily,
two there.
yeah, negative two, right? So we're at
Yeah,
net five features
five.
here. And then there is a awkward pose from him when he has that twizzle mistake. He has his hip out.
Yeah,
It doesn't look great. So I'm taking one away from
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
we're at net four.
Plus two.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah,
There's
everything
something
else is.
else. Yeah. So it's a plus two. It's a plus two step sequence just by the virtue of those errors.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right.
And also, their levels went down to level three each because of the
Right,
twizzle
right.
issue.
Because
So
yeah, they both lost the
yeah,
twizzles. Their
yeah,
steps and turns before that were perfect. So it's really
yeah.
surprising that they both messed up the twizzle. Because what did she do? She did bracket, Choctaw, outside Mohawk, rocker, perfect. Same thing, bracket, outside Mohawk, rocker, messes up the twizzle.
Twizzle,
But then the
twizzer.
counter's
Yeah.
great from him. All right. And then one is just the jump, that's great. And to the music. And then the final one.
I like that one a lot. I
Yeah, me
mean,
too.
really, this kind of, so we'll pause it here. This is just like the build up between the step sequence and
Hmm.
their choreographic steps. So it's like they have like some music just to like kind of gain momentum, I
Hmm.
would say, to get into this choreographic step. I think this is a good placement for this kind of element.
Me too. Me
Um,
too. And the way that that second jump jumps up to a high and then comes down
mhm.
slowly, and then they turn with the music, and then into the third is really great. I'd give it the smooth and effortless.
Uh-huh.
Enhances choreography. Yeah, I would say so for the first two for sure. Even the third one that kind of like holds the music. So I give it two.
Good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entry exit seamless. Yeah, I would say both because it happens so soon
Okay.
after the step sequence, and the exit's great. So we're at six body lines, pleasing both partners. I'd say for her, I'd give her one. I wouldn't say
Okay.
he's doing anything exceptional, but that
Okay.
position when she's really high up is great. So seven, unison
Hmm.
oneness throughout element. Yeah, I give him two for that. So we're at net nine. We're at nine. Um, speed maintained. Give it the
I don't
one.
really no.
No,
No,
you
I
don't
don't
think
think.
so?
See, here's my issue, and this is
I mean, we're
we're
already at a
following.
plus five, but
This is my issue. To me, this element is nicely done. This is a choreographic element, but the way that they have these criteria, it's building it in to get a plus five way too easily for these top teams. So you're going to probably look the other way for a lot of the lesser teams that are doing
yeah.
similar content. For
Okay.
me, the thing is the criteria needs to be changed because I would say just aesthetically looking at this, I would say plus three, maybe plus four. The fact that it can get a plus five to me is an issue with the criteria being too lax on the choreographic elements. That's just my opinion.
I
I
would agree.
can't fault I cannot fault giving it a plus five because we just went through the criteria of it. But I would say
Yeah.
comparatively, you see assisted jumps that are a lot more creative, a lot more to the music. They mean a little bit something more than this does, and there's no way to differentiate it. So this is something,
Hmm.
I'm big on getting rid of these choreographic elements because I think they're
Me
silly. I
too.
think they're a way to rank everybody. Give them the plus five. I'm not so sure that
And you can
it
earn way
it
too much GOE. Each one you can earn
yeah,
4.15 points of GOE, which is
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
All right. Next thing here.
Now, having just said that I can't stand choreographic elements,
This is
I
so
think
good.
that this is a thing of beauty. Even this push up that I did not like at the beginning of the season, I think from the side view I like it more. I don't know,
I
but I just think
know.
that this is really like this is completely different than what Chalk and Bates did. They're mostly straight up,
Right.
they're straight up and down on this. This uses the full body. They use,
Full
you know,
body.
their pressure on their hands, they're low on their knees, they're high in their body. Like everything, every
Mhm.
part of their body is being used in this. So for me, I will tell you without even looking at the positive features, if it could not achieve a +5, I would say there's something wrong with the system.
Yeah. So, but we'll just go through that because I think it's really
Yeah.
obvious what this will get. But smooth and
Yep.
effortless for sure. +2. Enhances choreography
Mhm.
element. Yeah, it does. 100% all the way
Yeah.
through every beat of the music. So give it the full 3. Entry, exit, seamless. I'm not giving it either because it just kind of one element ends, the next one begins. They just kind of like
Yeah.
staying in place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Innovative, creative. Yeah, that when he's turning onto the ground, has to then blindly find her, reach, pulls her
You
in.
skipped body lines again.
Oh, I did, didn't I? Body lines is pleasing. Yeah, even to both. There's definitely
Yeah.
elements here.
Yeah.
So we're at 7, and then
Hmm.
innovative, creative. Yes. I want to give it all 3, but I'll just give it the +2.
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at 9 already.
We're
Eunice,
already at +5.
yeah, Eunice and oneness 10, right? So we're at 10 here. Going through this speed, yeah, well, whatever. So we're at +5. No negative features
Hmm.
for me.
Hmm.
Okay. Then the last one is a choreographic lift.
And again, she's
Love
holding
that
on. She gives that
draped.
illusion of, yeah.
Yeah, they just
And
hanging
it
on to
kind of
nothing.
weaves right into, again, it weaves right into this ending. It always weaves into something, which is what I so appreciate about this program. Okay, but
Oops.
another, just close it out because we're done.
Yeah.
It's fine. So smooth and effortless, I would say yes. Give the 2.
Yeah.
Element enhances the choreography and the creative shows and music. I would say yes. I would say 2 is fair there. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
it's,
Hmm.
it entry exit is seamless and or unexpected
I
or
put the
creative.
exit, yes, but not the entry.
I would agree with the exit. Per
So
partner, I would
5
say, are they both? Yeah, because yeah,
per each. Yeah. Body lines, I'm not gonna skip it this time.
yeah, please
Yeah,
don't.
I would say for both, especially him. The way he's
Hmm.
even like, oh, it's so good. Um, so I'll give him 1 and 1. So we're at 7. Innovative,
Yeah.
creative. I don't know if I give him innovative.
I would not say so.
No.
It includes a
So
variety of holds. I would say probably yes. So I would give it 1 there. I,
yeah.
I would say
So
yes.
1, a unison oneness, definitely. I'd give it 2 for
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
So we're at 10 positive features
And
here.
yeah.
And then just going through this, there's other ones he gives. Speed is definitely being maintained here, but we're already at
Hmm.
10. I didn't see any
So
negatives.
it's a +5. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just gonna say, I really am just gonna say, and this might be a fault of the system, but I really went into this thinking I don't know what the result's going to be yet, but I'm seeing what the scores are, and I'm thinking it's going to turn out in Laurence and Guillaume's favor, even on our scorecard. And I thought it was going to be the opposite. I was totally ready to say, even though we've said Laurence and Guillaume are, the ones to beat and they're the best ones. I thought based on the performances last night, I really thought it was going to go a different direction.
All right.
But when you go line by line, which no one ever does, everyone hones in on one thing or one aspect or just one judge. And we're going to get into this right after this because I have a lot to say about all of that. What I've seen is like reasoning on the internet since
Yeah.
since last night. But I'm not sure yet, so I'm speaking ahead of time. But I have a feeling it's going to go in Laurence and Guillaume's favor, maybe by quite a bit. And I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. So I would look at the system and question where it is that is allowing that. Maybe you don't necessarily agree,
Yeah.
but I do think the choreographic elements and just the way it's built in to get a +5, even if it really doesn't aesthetically look like it should be, and comparatively,
Right.
you see much better elements. I think that's the problem. But anyways, let's move on to the components. So
Yeah.
again, you want to, we don't have to re-go through what the
And we're not gonna read
definitions
them all
are.
through. We'll just go through, talk about it one through. So on composition here,
Yeah.
I think they have a great multidimensional movement, use of space, everything. The patterns are more complex, and they're in different planes of performance, like you've seen upright, in low positions. So that's really great. I would say that's excellent, if not outstanding.
Yep, agreed.
Connections, yeah, connections between the elements.
We talk about this even just watching because you played a few extra seconds and just to show what they're doing, going in and going out of the elements on a lot of these cases, it has to be excellent,
At least
pushing
excellent.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Choreography reflecting musical phrase and form, 100% to me. Yes,
Yep.
that's definitely excellent, if not
Mostly
outstanding.
throughout. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Pattern ice coverage, again,
Yes.
really great.
Not the fastest. Again,
Right.
this is we're looking at skating skills for speed, but the ice coverage also has to play a part with speed because if you're
Yeah.
not going fast, your ice coverage is
And
great.
and you
So
just look
I
at
would,
the step sequence. It's a serpentine because they cover so much ice and it's just so
yeah,
good and it's so
yeah,
smooth, right?
yeah,
Unity, the one knock is that, like at the Twizzles, they're not having
yeah.
some unity there, right? But
Yeah.
otherwise everything's so good. It feels like equal work for equal partners in the
I
competition, the way
have
it's
a score in
choreographed.
mind here. I have a
I'm
score in
I'm
mind.
975.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Right.
That is
And it would have been
exactly.
a 10 if not for that Twizzle issue. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so 975. All right. Presentation. Definitely giving them expressiveness and, you know, projection. Uh,
I understand. Listen, I understand that this is not everyone's cup of tea, and everyone's going to say this is a
right.
lesser Gabriella and Guillaume. I understand that this is what he does time and time again, but I really think they spent time really cleverly planning this program and matching the
Hmm.
elements and making every single second of it count. And it's not a stop and go. It's cohesive from start to finish. So yes, expressiveness and projection. I say they got it there. They 100% they have it. Variety of and contrast of energy and of movements. This is where I really think if we're going to go
Right.
back to Chuck and Bates, which they do not compare head to head and say, well, I gave them this score and them this score. But if you're going to say contrast of energy and of movements, Laurence and Guillaume have it all over Madison and Evan just by default because of Evan not really doing much with his full body. And we see constantly Laurence and Guillaume are going down into these low positions, into these
Yeah.
high positions, using different parts of their body for balance. Just there's always something intertwining going around each other. For me,
Hmm.
they're just doing so much more in that sense. Musical sensitivity and timing. Again, this is, I think a lot of the elements are choreographed to the music, and
Yeah.
this is double dipping because you're giving them points for the GOE for this, but then you also look at the presentation and to me, they have the sensitivity. I believe in what they're doing. I
Me
think
too.
this is like a whole journey. I'm going to talk about what others have told me afterwards, so we won't get to that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But
And then
um,
the oneness, awareness of space and everything, I would say too, again, aside from that swizzle where they exit differently, it's really good all the way. And again, if not for these errors, I would have given this a 10. Easy, right? It would have been outstanding. It would have been platinum. There is that
to
twizzle.
to to be clear though, there's a cap on PCS only if it's a serious
Right,
error. And if you look at the definition here, it says when they're well, I mean, there's serious error and or falls are mistakes in which break the delivery of the program. This break can be minimal or more pronounced and noticeable. These errors must be reflected in the mark rewarded for each program
right.
component. The
And I
consequence
would,
depends on the severity and impact. And I don't think it was it was covered well to the normal person, I would say, except for maybe his kind of dip out of that first twizzle, but it did not
right.
break the program
But we're
by
gonna
any
go
means.
right, right. And because the Twizzle issue didn't break the program for me. Something that did break the program though was the Twizzle issue with the step sequence. That's the one moment where I came out of it.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's for you that has a very technical
right,
eye. And yes, the judges
exactly.
should too. The judges should
Yes.
too.
Mhm.
So, with that in mind, that's a serious error. And now, I mean, if you want to be really meticulous about this, then you cannot give above a 9.5 on the composition
Oh,
either.
see,
So you
yeah,
need
I
to,
was I was gonna go back and correct all that after and just say like, hey, and then we'll go back and apply the serious error. But if you want to correct it now, we can. Yeah, because I was just gonna
okay.
go
I
with
mean,
what the
because
criteria strictly said. But before this
yeah,
presentation would have been a complete 10 for me, if not for those issues. And then because there is that issue, it goes to that 9.5 just because it caps out at that. Yeah.
I still think it wasn't a serious error. I mean, it took you out of the magic of the program, but this is not like
Yes.
breaking the program. So it's
Right. It
very
didn't break it. No. Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah. Correct. I don't think it is a serious error, but yeah.
well, we'll go for 9.5 just because we need to follow
We're going to be
this criteria.
conservative. We've been conservative pretty
Yeah.
much the whole way through. So let's do that.
Yeah. Skating
And then
skills,
skating skills.
variety of edges, steps, turns, movements, and directions. 10.0. I mean, it
Yeah.
really does not get, this is the master class in this.
Right.
Clarity of edges, steps, turns, movements, and body control. Again, you could dip a little bit here because the elements, but then you're double dipping in where PCS really shouldn't go hand in
But it
hand with
does according to the
TES.
rules,
But it does.
unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's a knock
So,
on balance and glide too, just because he loses balance on the
yeah.
twizzles for sure. The flow is really good again until he has that twizzle issue in the step sequence where he gets stuck a little bit, and then has to like put his foot down. And
Mhm.
then power speed's really great. You know, again, thing unison.
And Unison's good. I mean, I would give this a 10.0 flat out. If they skated well, it would be a 10.0 for me. I don't think it gets any better than that. We will give a 9.5 here.
Yeah, because we're capped at 9.5. Same thing. So like honestly, if they had skated this clean, if they had skated this like they skated it at like performance wise at Grand Prix France, it's a 10-10-10 program.
And I also, just before we hit send, the judges did
It's
not consider this mostly, most of them did not consider it a serious error because they had tens. So there is no way the judges consider this because it wouldn't be allowed. One thing I will go back to really quickly before we hit enter is we have been the biggest proponents of for chalk and baits with their twizzles because she rotates in place. You can't get above a +3 because of this negative feature. The judges that gave a +4 for these twizzles for Laurence and Guillaume should be suspended, whatever, because this is not acceptable. This is a definite negative feature. +3 should have been the maximum that they got in this element.
and even
We
then it's
ended up
hard to
giving them,
find.
and yeah, and we gave them a +1. So I don't understand. I'm gonna be fair across the board because when I see it, I see it. I don't really care about like the feelings of anything. I'm reading the structured whatever. But one other thing I will say is the
Right.
serious error. I think it needs to be more clearly defined because we're having this discussion right now. Where was it a serious error or not? For you, it was because it broke you out of your trance. But for other people, it wasn't. It wasn't enough of a of,
Mhm.
of a pause or like a flow issue. So we're going 9.5 anyways. So
Right,
let's.
right. And just before we start here, people are honing in a lot on these issues that they had in the twizzles and the step sequence and the rotational lift, right? And so that's 3 out of 9 elements that weren't done to their standard that had small
Mhm.
issues. But then you have 6 elements that are more or less perfect elements.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things we're comparing here. But are we
Mhm.
ready for me to hit this button, see what happens?
I am, and I'm not gonna like it. I'm telling you, like I'm not.
Of course, I'm just like the scores are what the scores are. I'm like just judge it and let the chips
Yeah,
fall where they may. Um,
yeah.
I hit calculate 131.25.
I I think that we've done everything very fairly, and we've even left a little bit of cushion. And I just don't agree with these results. The PCS, I will say, I do agree with Laurence and Guillaume winning, even
Yeah,
with a shaky skate, because I think
because
that the
yes,
skating skills, and this is one point I wanted to bring up. I think the problem with PCS in general is that you start giving these 9 level scores to teams that are like 13, 14, 15, 16th place or whatever it is. It might have been after that. But then you don't leave any room. Giving one team a 9.5 and the next team a 9.75, that's not differentiating
right,
how much there is a difference. So that is a problem to me. Everyone's clumped in there. Like the top teams are all above 9. I just don't like that because I think that this team is really far and away
right,
ahead. Um,
right of
but
everybody.
yeah, I don't like this, to be
Right. I
honest
don't,
with
I
you.
mean, right. And there's a reason I think a lot of it leaves a bad taste in a lot of fans, mouths about this because they're not really understanding how the breakdown of the scoring and where the points lie. And again, it's
Yeah.
all these choreographic elements. So many points lie in them.
And
And
we don't like them. We've said from the
we
beginning,
don't, we
I've said
hate
this
them.
from the
Hmm.
minute we started this channel, get rid of them. So can we
Right.
actually get them off the screen and show us? Like, can we get to that now? Do
Yeah.
we need to show anything
Yeah.
else? Have you written it
No,
all down?
I really don't know.
Write it down.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So I just don't like it. People were messaging me saying, "Oh, there's this preconceived notion that we're just throwing out there, just like defending one team over another, and we just hate another team." But it's not that. I literally, the way my mind works, I have to go line by line, and you know this. I will sit there emotionless to all the skating, and I'm just watching what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, this and this and
Hey
this
guys,
and
like
this and this.
Tony doesn't really have biases or feelings. I
Yeah.
always make fun of him. I'm like, Tony, you definitely have a learning disability.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so
Right.
structured in what
Hmm.
I do that it has to make sense in my mind. I
But
don't
like,
care.
going through line by line, you see it makes sense, like this lead, even though maybe some judges had a few different bullets here or there. So maybe the scores
Yes.
go up a few points for one
Right,
team and down a
but
few, but it's not gonna.
but Laurence and Guillaume having 15 positive, like that's the thing. There's so much cushion there.
Mhm.
There's so much
So
cushion there.
much.
And we went much lower on the Twizzles for them, and we went much lower on the rotate. I mean,
Right.
we really, I think we went in on them, but there's only so much you can go on because everything else was so good.
Right. And,
I
and
think
and
what
one of the issues too is we had Laurence and Guillaume winning TES still. We had them winning TES by 3.19 points. And it's choreographic elements were just better,
Mhm.
in my opinion. They were just better.
Yeah.
They were so perfectly in
Okay.
tune to this program.
All right, so my battery for my computer is at 6%. We're not going to fix that because we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. But I just want to go into really quick some of the excuses and some of the messages I've gotten, and a lot of people are asking me, what is it that's going on? What is it that could be changed? Where do you think like things went right or wrong? Do you agree?
Right.
I told everybody, I'm like, listen, I'm a huge Laurence and Guillaume fan, but I'm fully expected to go into this, and I think I'm going to give it to Madison and Evan. I'm not gonna spill too much, but we stayed past the medal ceremony last night, and Ice Academy of Montreal, all of those athletes were out there waiting for Madison. Madison started to cry once she got off the medal, like she got um off the ice. Evan did too. You could tell very overwhelmingly that every single one of those athletes thought Madison and Evan should have won.
Right.
It's just that's how it is. It's kind of point blank. Barbara Fusser Poli was all over them, congratulating them, trying to like make them stop crying. It's clear that Charlene and Marco even came out and said that they're usually a fan of Laurence and Guillaume, but like on the night it was Madison and Evan. I just talking to some other elite level ice dancers, they kind of all tell me the same thing. Laurence and Guillaume are clearly the better skaters. Like no one is denying that fact, and they think that they have a stronger program, but as performed, you would have to give it to Madison and Evan. So now I'm one of those people that, I just went line by line and this is my result, and I don't feel comfortable with it. I think that
Right.
the system, I've said this for a long time, but I think it needs to be looked at. And I think
Mhm.
um it it should have been closer. As much as I have an issue with Madison Chalk twizzling in place, like there's so much good to their skating, and
Right.
they did really skate well. It's just there's I don't know. I don't know what the
And
answer is.
right, it's just because there's so much that's up to interpretation here. It's like, so for
Actually, you know what?
example,
You know what? I'm gonna just stop you. I think the issue is the way that matrix is that if you do have an error, it's still possible to get a +3. It really is still
yes,
possible to get a +3,
right, right.
as opposed to single skating where you have an error and you're gonna get a -1 or a -2 at max. And if you
Mhm.
completely screw it up, you're gonna get a -4 or -5.
Right.
In ice dance, people expect that, but that doesn't happen.
Mhm. And it's because there's no break within the element. There's not. There's a slight loss of
Mhm.
control or a touchdown, right? But he still flows all the way through.
Correct.
It's awkward. The one vagary in that step sequence is whether or not you consider her issue to be some type of like touchdown with the foot. Where to me, it's
Yeah.
just she doesn't execute the twizzle cleanly. It's still smooth. She just doesn't get the one and a
Yeah.
half. Oh, sorry. She only gets 1.5 rotations in before she sets her
Mhm.
foot down.
Mhm.
If you consider
Yeah.
that a touchdown, then it's at a -1, the element, versus a plus
Yeah.
two that we gave it. And so I'm just gonna run it with that -1 and see if
Put
that
it
changes
put it
anything.
back on the screen. It's not going
Okay.
to. We have a 5 point, but show it on the screen
Yeah.
so we
Yeah. Yeah.
can.
Here, I'll share real quick. We'll just look at just this. Okay. So we're just looking at the screen again. I made it a -1 here, and we're just gonna hit
Mhm.
calculate, and we're still at a
It's still a two
128.13.
point, two
It's
point,
still ahead, right? With that -1 on the step sequence. Let's write that down.
yeah, I don't know.
And so, right. And I think if we're having issues, blame the system. I think the judges kind of scored it kind of wildly all over the place. I think we've talked
Mhm,
about
mhm.
that through the whole season here, where we've had issues with the way ice dance is scored, and it's the way the judges apply the rubric. But there's also issues with the rubric, in my opinion, just like you're talking about. Some of these things are way too easy to get +5, and then there's so much weight to these choreographic elements to where it does become so easy to get +5.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, really quickly, I just want to talk about some of the excuses, some of the, Beverly Smith God bless her. I don't know. But I used to read her books when I was younger. The thing is, I'm a little bit annoyed with how she's, once again, not really doing her homework. In the rhythm dance, she said that, what was it? Oh, the Twizzles were not in unison, but they still got a level four. No correlation there. Please understand, there's no correlation. In the free
Right.
dance, she went off on this tangent about how Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson were pushed ahead of the Canadians in the rhythm dance by the judge from Great Britain. But then in the free dance, that judge was not drawn, and all of a sudden they're in 12th place. Like, Beverly, did you watch the program? I mean, it's not, they weren't in 12th because of that judge. They were in 12th because they had a major error and there was no way around it. Like, the way she's trying to angle this into some kind of drama, it's tiring.
Mhm.
These are paid, or I don't know if she's paid anymore as a journalist, but these are people that should be more realistic on the lines of what we're doing, and yet we're the ones doing the work and they're the ones just throwing out these conspiracies. There was another thing about the French judge ranking Laurence and Guillaume
Yeah.
so far ahead of the Americans, like by 8 points or something. It does, listen, this is the case all the time. It's kind of pick and choose when it matters because the Canadian and the US judges do this a lot. To the point that there was a Canadian judge, and I put this on Instagram, and people were like, "What are you talking about? We didn't know this." There was a Canadian judge that was suspended in 1998 for colluding to make the results go in favor of Canadian ice dance team, Born and Kratz, to get the bronze medal. That ultimately did not happen. Then, after the fact of her doing this, she tape recorded the conversations kind of as blackmail, and then she went to the ISU and to the authorities, I guess, and she's like, "Listen, this happened. What are you going to do?" And she ended up getting suspended for it
Right.
because she didn't get her
Because,
way. She did not
right.
get her way.
And she's the only one who judges and ranks the skaters in accordance to that order talked about
Right.
in the
But
recording.
that,
She's the
listen,
only one who follows
that's
through on the plan.
that's not important. The important part is 20 years later, 2018 Worlds, in the free dance, she ranks Papadakis and Cizeron in first place. And then she ranks her two Canadian teams in second and third, but it's what she does with the other teams as far as points, putting them way below those two Canadian teams. This happens all the time, and I guarantee North American media did not care when it happened
Right.
then. One judge going above and beyond for Laurence and Guillaume did not change the results. It did not make them win the gold medal. People, even there's social media, kind of big names in social media that are kind of floating this. And I'm like, please, guys, it's not right when a judge does that. But even if we just scored this as conservatively as possible, with me in my mind wanting it to work out for Chuck and Bates, and we still had a 5 point advantage for Laurence and Guillaume. And I know people are going to be in the comments and be like, well, that just shows your bias. No,
Right.
like, tell us where we got it wrong. Like, we
Right.
went in deeper than the judges went on a lot of this. So
And I get the criticism based on who the people are, but it's sport. That doesn't come into the judging, or at least it's not supposed to. And I think that's a kind of indicative too. Even my feelings about it, like I wasn't that enthusiastic with the result. The result I was actually enthusiastic about was Piper and Paul getting bronze. I was so happy. It was the moment
absolutely.
of the
And you
night.
know what? If we get enough interest, we might go back and score theirs too. But this video would turn out to be 4 hours long, and
Yeah,
it's just not. We can't.
we can go to
Um,
sleep.
but I would be curious because, and the one thing I will say, and this is nothing against Madison and Evan, but the one thing that I did notice is that a lot of people are going to this whole. I don't know if I said this in the beginning because it was a long time ago, and I have a lot of thoughts. But a lot of people are going to this whole idea of Piper and Paul won the night. And for them, they were the stand-up performance. Now, if Madison and Evan were so convincing as gold medalists, do you not think that it would be saying like they were the ones they clearly they killed it? It's
Right.
more so like Piper and Paul were the ones that stood out. They really delivered. They were our performance. I think there's something to say about that. I think there's really
Yeah.
something just there. Maybe I don't know. I'm just
And
really quickly.
yeah.
You can talk for a second because I want to just read some of these other comments that I got. I, I understand that people are mad, and I understand that it needs to make sense. For me, it needs to make sense too. Um,
Well, and it does make sense, just not in the way we want it to, because we want the rules to be different. We want the elements to be different. We want the weighting of the elements to be different. But if you're just going by rules as written, the criteria given, the result does make sense, even if it feels kind of icky. And again, I think that's
mhm.
just ice dance, and it's just a conception, a problem in conception here. And then you compound just the execution problem when it comes to the judging. It's just flaws upon flaws of the system, not right.
I'm getting some pushback because we didn't talk about the British judge and the rhythm dance for the crazy scores that he gave. Listen, like there's always someone that's trying to be daring, and you could honestly, I'm not saying he was right or wrong. I think I peeped his scores, and I think that sometimes he got it more right than wrong, but he was outside the corridors, so people are going to look at that and be like, "What?" If you go to Europeans, when the panel really went kind of crazy on the men and the PCS, and they really separated them. I want to see that kind of movement. Now, I'm not
Right.
saying that the British judge was up to anything, but what I will say is if he's that far out of line, all of his scores are getting canceled out anyways. Don't ever put him on an international panel again. I agree that there should be some kind of algorithm that really shows the best of the best, the most consistent judges, whatever consistent means, rather than just, the countries nominating whoever they want to. I think that
Yes.
that should be a process that takes place because as far as I know, the technical panels, they do that. For the judges, I think it's just you assign who you want, whoever's available. So I'm not agreeing with these crazy kind of outliers, but I also want people to understand his scores did not affect anybody if they were that out of line because they will just cancel them out. And if you want to talk about national bias, then yes, probably for Lila and Lewis, all of his scores got canceled out. And if he was so harsh on Piper and Paul, then his scores got canceled out for them too. And I'm not saying that that should happen, but I'm saying it did not play a part in this big conspiracy. So,
Right. And I actually prefer
um,
judges who just try to judge based on the criteria and maybe are not in alignment with everybody else because too many judges
mhm,
think and school judge in the terms of what are my
yeah,
peers going to do so I can do something similar. And no,
yeah.
you should not be ever be doing
Let
that.
me let me just wrap this up really quickly with another mention. The athletes get a special section up at the top in some of the worst seats in the entire building.
Yeah.
Last night, that athlete section was full. I saw several people that have credentials for athletes, coaches, whatever, try to go into the journalist section, which is nearly completely empty. And the ushers went to them and gave them a super hard time and told them they had to move. There were almost no other seats. Give me a break. These are the athletes that have access to this building. They're allowed to come watch. If there's no seats for them, figure it out. These ushers, I'm telling you, if this usher, I hope she doesn't watch our show. But after the whole skating was done, the place was basically cleared out. I went to stand at the concourse part of that section to record more of what was going on the sidelines after the medal ceremony. And one of the ushers came and yelled at me and said, "You're not a journalist. You need to get out of this section." I'm like, "There's no one here anymore, but okay, whatever you say." Like, just really, they were not nice to the skaters. I will say
Right.
that, and the coaches.
Yeah, they
So
weren't.
they need to figure that out for the rest of the Olympics. They need to figure that out.
Especially since there are so many empty seats in this arena on the best
Yeah,
side of the arena. The most expensive
yeah.
prime seats are
Yeah, the
sitting
ISU,
mostly
the VIP,
empty.
I know people that, I said this in the rhythm dance, but there's people that are just influencers of some kind that got all these free access. And then the people that cover skating very, very closely all season, every season, they're not given really anything. So that's to that. I'm
Okay.
going to wrap it up now.
Your battery's dying. So you
Yeah,
gotta go.
battery's about done. But I hope this was educational. Like I said, I'm
Right.
not really loving, I don't have a good feeling about what we came up with.
I'm not
Um,
either. I thought Chocolate Bates would win too. So
I think we need to go in and really look at the numbers and just figure out a way that it would make more sense. Or if you do truly value six elements or whatever, getting a plus five, over maybe some elements that are plus three, plus four.
mhm. Or judge it
That's
yourself.
for
You know,
another
Skating
day.
Scores has this feature for
Yeah,
everybody. Go rescore,
yeah,
hit it,
yeah.
see what you
Let
got,
us know.
and use
Yeah.
the criteria.
So I hope that this was educational. I hope that my videos were good. I made them for the sole purpose of doing this because I knew that this was going to be like this. Um,
Well, not
but
like
yeah, I hope.
this, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but I knew it was going to be hotly contested.
yeah, it would regardless, right?
As always, please like, subscribe, follow, share. Tell us that we're terrible and we're terribly biased, whatever. I mean, we just put in more effort than anyone else ever has. I promise you. People don't put in this level of work. They just jump to one conclusion and say this is the fact. But yeah, we like to hear maybe where we were too generous or where we were not so nice with certain criteria and let
Yeah,
us know.
and say why.
But yeah, tomorrow men's free skate, we're going to try to get tickets for it. Fingers crossed for that. But for now, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah,
So this is a skating session. My name is Tony Wheeler.
and I'm Thomas Boo. All
Thank you for watching.
right, bye everyone.